All right, in this video we're going to go over the ScrollSpy functionality that Bootstrap includes. And what this is when you have certain sections of content on a page and you have navigation items that pertain to them. So we have welcome, about, and services. ScrollSpy will make it so that when we hit that area, for instance the welcome, the navigation item will be highlighted. Once we hit about, that will be highlighted. Once we hit services, that will be highlighted or active. And we're going to go a step beyond that and add a little bit of custom jQuery to be able to make it so that when we click on welcome or about, it goes down to that area, that section, but it also animates, so it kind of slides down. And what we did in the first version of this course, in the themes that did this functionality, is we included a third-party library. And we're not going to do that this time. We're just going to have a little block of jQuery that we can use to get the same functionality. That way we don't have to include a whole third-party library just for that one effect. Okay, so we're going to start with the basic ScrollSpy. Now we have a navigation bar here. I'm in 5.7 ScrollSpy, and we need to give it an ID. So the nav tag should have an ID, and I'm just going to say main. We'll say main-nav. All right, and then in the links here, you can see that we have a welcome, and the href goes to hash welcome. The about goes to hash about, the services goes to hash services. Now, if I put an ID with these identifiers, for instance, on this section right here, ID equals welcome, and I click on welcome, it's going to bring me to that area. Now, the nav bar is actually hiding the heading. We could move that down with some CSS if we wanted, but I'm not going to worry about that. When we get to our projects, we're gonna make it look all nice. But that's basic functionality of HTML. That has nothing to do with Bootstrap or JavaScript or anything. So let's finish that up. This section will be ID about, and then this last one will be ID of services. All right, so now we can navigate to each part, but it's not a smooth animation like I want it to be, so we'll do that after. But let's do the ScrollSpy active effect. So all we really have to do is go down to the bottom here in our script tags. Okay, make sure you're within your script tags, and we want to take a parent element in jQuery, so we're going to use the body, and then we need to call ScrollSpy, and that's going to take in an object with a target. Okay, and the target is going to be the ID of the navigation, including the hash. So we're going to say hash main-nav, and that should do it. So now once we hit welcome, and if you look up here, you'll see that it gets active or highlighted. When we get to about, same thing, gets highlighted. We get to services, that gets highlighted. So that's how basic Bootstrap ScrollSpy works. All right, now, like I said, I want to take it a step further, and I want some animated transitions to these sections when we click. So what we're going to do is go below this and say add smooth scrolling. Now, if you're not really, that familiar with JavaScript or jQuery, don't worry about it. This is a small block of code that you can just you can put in a snippets file somewhere, and you can use it on any kind of single page Bootstrap theme where you want to use this smooth scrolling. All right, I'll try to explain what I can as we go, but don't worry about it if you don't understand every line. So what we want to do is we want to target any link that's clicked in the main nav. So ID main nav a tag, and then we want to say on a click, we're going to run a function. Okay, that function can take in an event object, and we want to then check for a hash value. Okay, so what I mean by that is hash welcome, hash about, hash services. We want to check to see if it includes a hash value. So we can do that by saying if this, meaning the link that's clicked, if this dot hash is not equal to an empty string, that means it has one. And if it does, we want to prevent the default behavior of the A tag. So to do that, we take that event object and we call prevent default, like that. All right, then what we want to do is just store the hash in a variable. So I'm going to say const hash equals this dot hash. Okay, next thing we want to do is animate the, we'll say animate smooth scroll. Now, one thing I want to mention here is notice that we're not using the slim version of jQuery here. We're using the full version. You have to use the full version because the slim does not include the animate method. Okay, so it won't work if you use the slim version. So we're going to say jQuery, and we're going to put in HTML and body, and then we want to say .animate, and this is going to take in some curly braces, and we want to say so we want to scroll top, and then we want to put inside jQuery our hash variable, and then we want to say offset dot top. So basically we're going to push it down, and then the second parameter is the amount of time. So it's in milliseconds. I'm going to say 900 milliseconds, and then it takes another parameter of a callback function, and then in here we want to add the hash to the URL after the scroll. So for that we can take the window object, which is part of the browser, say location, and then hash, and set it equal to whatever that hash is. And that's it. So this one block of code right here, you can reuse this in Bootstrap themes if you want to implement the animated navigation. So let's save it and try it out. We'll hit about. Nicely brings us down. Services, welcome. So now we have a nice smooth scroll to where we want to go, rather than it just, appearing there. All right, so that's it for the sandbox, guys. In the next section, we're going to just put together a little boilerplate for future projects. It's really, really easy. Basically, we're just going to add the Bootstrap CSS and JavaScript and stuff like that, just so we have something to start on for each of the 5 projects. All right, so I will see you in the next video in the next section.